healing oasis, spirit, mind, body, spirit, that spirit part is to me where you find that peace and that purpose. I know that there are many of you that may believe a number of different things, and I don't shy away from, you know, I'm a firm believer. I'm a Christian. I'm a firm believer of Jesus Christ. But whatever you believe, I think that channel of prayer, that peace, place of purpose, finding that joy inside of you, like, because if that's not there, it's not you cannot even create a home for your potential future child. So, and I firmly believe that during this period is when God really works on you. Like, I believe that we're chosen for this. So it's not an easy path. It's not a path that we feel proud to walk often enough. I feel proud now, but it took me a long time to get to this. And it wasn't just because I birthed a child. Like I said, Barren Fruit was born before I had her. I didn't know I would have her. And the Lord placed different situations in my life, like my husband's sister-in-law, who is like a daughter to me. She's the first person to call me mom. So I'm a firm believer that I was a mother before I even gave birth. But I think sometimes we overlook those situations that the Lord places people in our lives, and the purpose that I have found through Barren Fruit. I don't think I would have been here. If I didn't go through this, I would not have realized that this was something that I'm passionate about and that is rooted in me to connect with you women. Like, you don't even know, like I almost got a little bit sick, like, before this started, like, because this is so deeply rooted in me. And the fact that all these people are on this call right now, or even listening live, because I know the feeling that you must have. Like, I still deal with it. I had a miscarriage after her. So it's not even that things end, you know, like, I still have endometriosis, fibroids still grow back when you get them removed, and the scar tissue grows back. So we have to continue to fight and support each other. But I think the biggest thing that I wanted to drive home is that feeling of healing, of purpose. That's what I want us to focus on this week. So I'm hoping that you stay with us. We have 2 more speakers that will be speaking today to touch on body and mind. And I will be introducing them shortly. But these 3 things, if we stay close to this and carry it throughout the week, with all the different speakers, like, I'm hoping to change the narrative of this, have better doctors that will listen, get second opinions if you need to. Like, you have to fight for yourself. You have to educate yourself. You have to demand to be heard, and you have to seek to have your results and read them yourself. But more importantly, while you're in this moment, asking God, why am I in this moment? Not in a way that is disrespectful. You know, some people don't want to ask why, but I mean, really sit and think, like, what is he trying to move through me? Because, like I said, you were chosen for this. It's not a mistake. But why were you chosen for this? For those of you that are on this call that are believers, there were 7 women in the Bible that were considered infertile, that went before us, that were infertility warriors. Each one of them had a purpose. There was a reason. Like, nothing was written about just to be written. Like, it's just said. Like, everything had a reason and a purpose. So why was it 7 different women? Why was it a need to say that the womb was closed and he opened it? All but one. One he did not open. So what was the purpose? What was the reason? They all served a reason and a purpose in that moment in the gospel. So what is your reason? What is your purpose? Find it. Find it. Otherwise, you'll get lost in it. And for me, I got lost in a cycle of depression. A cycle. And the 2-week wait, right? So every time I was hopeful, and then I can't even, to this day, I can't look at another pregnancy test. I can't do it. So I never label myself as trying, because it's like, if it happens, it happens. But I can't do it because I can't put myself in that headspace anymore. So I think we have to realize what our limits are and what we can handle, and what, and honestly, for me, it's the fear of suffering loss again. So that's something I have to stay in prayer about, but that's just real. That's real. Like, that's just me. Like, I know I'm putting on this conference. I'm not perfect. And we have a day dedicated to that as well, called Sisters in Loss, that we are in this together. I think there's just too many things that we kind of overlook and deal with. And I think if we rally together and you realize, like, I know everybody doesn't have their face showing. I thank you guys that are willing to show your face to me. I can put a face with a name. Like, it does a lot for me. So if you don't mind turning on your face, please do. If not, I understand. I understand. But you see, you're not alone. It's 1 in 8. 1 in 8 couples, 1 in 4 have had a miscarriage. 1 in 4. So I know I'm not alone in saying that. I know that there's multiple people on here that have had that as well, just looking at the numbers. So I'm hoping that that was something of encouragement to you, and something almost as a model to go by through this week, that I want you to focus on. Like, try focusing on that purpose this week. What you're going to do to advocate for yourself, and finding that channel of prayer, because that's the only reason I'm here. That's the only reason I'm here. That channel of prayer. And thank you guys. I see your faces, your beautiful faces. Thank you. Finding that channel of prayer and someone to talk to. I can be that person. You know, I can't tell you, people message me, it'll be like midnight. I will stop what I'm doing to chat with you, because I know what that's like, to feel like you're alone and everybody around you seems to be popping out babies, and, you know, it's like, when is my turn? So if there's nobody in your circle or in your family that understands, I understand, you know. So I wanted to start this off, and I didn't mean to start it off in a solemn note. I feel like, you know, but I want to be real at the same time. Like, you know, we will have moments this week where I want us to celebrate our bodies, you know, because that's the biggest lie. We feel like, you know, I know for me, I'll speak for myself. I felt like I was less than, you know, why does my husband want me? He could be with somebody else, you know. And I'm thankful that I began to talk to him. So those of you that do have a significant other, and if you think they don't understand, like, talk to them. Because I felt like I was alone, but I also felt like he didn't understand, and I would lash out. So I also want to encourage you to talk. The more you talk about it, the more you release. The more you keep it inside, the more it eats at you. And again, spiritually, it will eat at you. So in order for you to let God in and God to fill that, you have to release, and you have to stay in prayer, so that you don't miss it. You don't miss what's happening in this moment, because you will look up and realize, like, what happened this week? What happened last week? What happened this year other than me not having this child? Like, what happened? Because I don't remember. Like, I literally looked up and just realized that my time was only spent in trying to get what I didn't have, that I didn't realize what I had, and what God had blessed me with, that I missed it. So sometimes taking a break from it and just spending time with God. Sometimes that's all he wants, is for us to spend time with him, but he's trying to use you for something. What is it? What is it? I appreciate you guys. Again, I see that we have people from Baltimore. I already said New York, New Jersey. I appreciate those of you that have messaged me. You know, if anybody wants to say anything, they can just raise your hand and I'll take your mic off so that you can speak. I don't want you to feel like you're not able to speak in here, but I also want to be mindful that you might not feel comfortable. So if you don't feel comfortable speaking, you can put it in the chat. That's completely fine. And I'll try to make sure we have people commenting on Facebook as well. So we have those messages coming in. So I'll try my best to comment on what anybody's questions are. With that, I want to introduce you to one of our speakers. Her name is Sabrina Keeton. Sabrina Keeton is, I'm going to pull up part of your bio, Sabrina, because I don't want to miss anything. All right. So Sabrina Keeton is an interventional technologist in Philadelphia, PA. In 2006, she received her associate's degree in radiology from Drexel University. Her compassion to help people in her community led her to furthering her education at Queen Afua Wellness University, where she received her certificate for Sacred Women and Sacred Women Practitioner in 2016 to 2017. In 2019, she also received her certification as a Yoni STEAM practitioner and certification as a health coach with an integrative institution of nutrition. I hope I said all that right. One of the largest online nutrition schools in the world. Also, she is a certified Reiki 2 practitioner. She is now the proud owner of Queens United Holistic Center. So I want to welcome Sabrina as we begin to talk about healing body. Thanks, Sabrina.
Thank you, Diona. Greetings, everyone. Thank you, Diona. I'm so honored to be on here today, sharing just a little bit of healing the body, especially when it comes to reproductive health. So just a little bit about myself. I too, my story, I do suffer from PCOS. In the beginning, I didn't know I had PCOS. I didn't have a period. When I was 18, I didn't have a period, and I was wondering why. My mother took me to a PA. I was going to them for like 2 years, doing different tests, doing this, doing that, still nothing, didn't find anything. Until my godmother introduced me to a GYN doctor. And as soon as I went to her, she sent me right straight for an ultrasound. I found out I had polycystic ovary disease. From there on, she was Catholic, so she was spiritual. So I agree with Diona when it comes to spirituality, and you having reproductive challenges. Having that spirituality does play a major part in helping you get through it. Because before I found I had polycystic ovaries, I was depressed, I was crying, I was upset. Mother's Day came around, I was like, why am I not a mother? Why can I have children? So I suffer in silence a lot as well. Working with the GYN doctor spiritually and also just helping me, she helped me naturally. She gave me information about a program, Creedon method. And the Creedon method is basically just a natural charting of your body. It goes times when us women, we always sometimes want to just like hurry up and find out what's going on. But sometimes our body gives us signals. It gives us, things to give us alert to let us know something is going on. So through the charting with the Creedon method, I was able to know, when it was ovulation, when it was not ovulation, when my menstrual cycle should be coming on. So between that, working with the doctor with the Creedon method and my GYN doctor, I would say within that next year and a half, I had my first daughter. I was totally surprised, totally like in shock, because again, I thought that I could not conceive. So I started to, in that midst of time, changing my diet. Because I started learning and educating myself on what it is about polycystic ovary disease. Of course, with having excessive estrogen, it's like, okay, what these foods that we eat, like when it comes to meat, when we eat a lot of the meat, if we don't get meat that is farm raised, grass fed, that's the perfect meat. If you need to eat meat, that we should be consuming. When we consume all of those, antibiotic, injected meats, that's not good for us, because it has all types of hormones injected into the chicken, the beef, the pork, and you are already going through hormone changes, whether you have endometriosis, fibroids, cysts, whatever. It's just, that's what it is. It's a hormone balance, imbalance. So just making sure you eat the right foods, cut out a lot of processed foods. A lot of us, we love our junk food, and I agree with you. It's not easy. I love my potato chips. I love this, I love that. But sometimes we have to understand that in order for our bodies to take care of us, we got to take care of it. So we have to put down those potato chips and try to eat some fruits and vegetables that's going to give our body energy, to give our bodies what it needs to function. Avocados is a great reproductive vegetable to eat as well when it comes to our womb. I'm gonna touch a little bit about some of the herbs when it comes to reproductive. As you know, some women have tried Yoni steam, went for a Yoni steam. And a lot of people know and a lot of people don't know, but Yoni steaming is when a practitioner put a special blend together for you, depending upon your consultation, what's going on. So the blend that they put together for you, you can drink those herbs as well as steam with them. So one of the herbs that is most famous for women always, all the time, you can drink it all the time, is raspberry leaf tea. So raspberry leaf tea is it tones the uterus, is healing, is high in vitamins. It decreases so basically taking it maybe once or twice a day. It helps your reproductive system. Candula is another herb that's good. It promotes healing. It helps with menstrual disorders, helps with cramps, fights bacteria and inflammation. Another good one is nettle leaf. Nettle leaf is very nourishing for our uterus. It fights infections, it prevents cell damage. And it is a detoxifying for your womb as well. Another herb that's good for polycystic ovary disease is vitex berries. It helps balance when your imbalance with your hormones. Another good one herb for women reproductive is for fibroids is shepherd's purse. Shepherd's purse helps with shrinking the fibroids. And one more herb that is good for endometriosis is mugwort. Mugwort helps with regulating the hormone imbalance. And a lot of these hormones that are put into these blends, whether you're drinking it or whether you're yoni steaming with it, each herb helps regulate whatever that woman is going through, whether it's endometriosis, fibroids, polycystic ovary disease. When it comes to a lot of our challenges, getting rid of the dairy and getting rid of the red meat is so important. Because a lot of us, like, we love our red meat, we love our dairy, but sometimes in order for our body to, like I said, take care of itself, you have to eliminate and start replacing things. And also too, when the sugar is not good for you as well too. A lot of us have a high sugar intake. A high in sugar intake is not good for us as well. Replacing like white sugar with raw sugar, or using agave or honey to sweeten your tea if you are a tea drinker, or even with coffee. Coffee is a lot of caffeine, so you might not want to drink a lot of coffee as well. But a lot of these it's just lifestyle changes, basically. Like Diona was saying, you just gotta start learning what's good for you, what's not good for you, and just start replacing. Because if you continue to do what eat the way you eat, it's not healthy for you, for your body or for your womb. It's always good to like kind of reach out to a health coach, or if someone that is already living that lifestyle, just reach out to them, say, hey, ask them about what they're doing, what they're eating, and try it yourself, because again, it's not easy. It's a journey. A lot of us, right now, being home in this quarantine, it's like we're all snacking, we're all eating, so it's like, okay, let's start replacing that with a green juice or a green smoothie, instead of grabbing a soda, or grabbing a glass of alcohol to drink. Let's start replacing that with the juices, with the green juices, with the fruit juices. So also too, I want to touch on also too, when it comes to our womb, when it comes to our womb, we have to make sure that we have a good gut flora, like our gut health. If our gut health is not good, that is also going to contribute to your womb, because your gut your gut sits right over top of your womb. So if you're not properly eating correctly and your womb is all, is not balanced, then where's those toxins is going to go? It's going to go right straight to your womb. So I always recommend with supplements is to do a probiotic. Probiotic will give you that good gut flora to help balance that bad bacteria that's going on in your GI system. Making sure you go to the bathroom a lot. Like some people don't like to talk about bowel movements, but if you eat 3 times a day, you should be going to the bathroom 3 times a day. If you're not going having regular bowel movements, then that's something that you should start observing yourself and seeing what supplements that you can take to help you with that, because that's not good as well either. So I just basically wanted to just touch on just a little bit about the herbs, the supplements that you should take when you as far as your body and as far as your womb health.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. Does anybody have any questions for Sabrina? I know she shot out a lot of knowledge about different foods and different herbs. If there's anything that you need us to put into the comments so that you remember, let me know. Do you think, Sabrina, maybe we could have like a list of those things and maybe we can also send it out to the people that are on here? Just so
I started typing them in right now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm looking to see if there was any other questions. This was somebody said a list of the herbs. Okay.
Oh, and I just wanted to also, just one more point. If you don't know about Yoni steaming or know, because I know we're all over the place with where we live, but here in Philadelphia, you have myself and you have Detox Body, you have Kyrite Naturals in Springfield Mall, you have Lisa in Delaware. So if you're looking for a Yoni steam practitioner to help assist you with your Yoni steaming or tell you about Yoni steaming, you can, contact me and I will, refer you to them. But it is something that we should do regularly, at least twice a month. We can't just like experience it just one time, especially us women that has, have that reproductive challenge. We have to try to do it on a regular basis. So twice a month, before and after your menstrual cycle is suggested. So again, those women that are Yoni steam practitioners, they will be more than welcome you into their spa, into their office to explain to you and to also service you for Yoni steam.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. And I can attest to the Yoni steaming. I haven't done it nearly as frequently as I've been told I should. I've only gone once, and I've gone in a group. So if you don't feel comfortable going, like if there's a couple people that are really close to you, depending on where you go, sometimes you can do like an intimate group as well. And I've been considering, because I know for those of you that are part of my I have a monthly support group. I've been thinking about maybe doing that for one of our months as well. So that is on the table. All right, thank you so much, Sabrina. All right, so next we have Saleemah. I believe Saleemah's on here. Saleemah?
I'm here.
Okay, all right. So before I fully introduce Saleemah, and she has the poster back there, I want to make sure you guys know that we're just coming off of Black Maternal Health Week last week that just ended yesterday. And Saleemah was able to rally and get a whole group of us in the city of Philadelphia to really put on a dynamic event, which also had to turn virtual, but it winded up being a big success. We were able to broaden our reach, and me and Sabrina are all members of the Maternal Wellness Village that you see in that poster behind us. So Saleemah is the visionary behind the Maternal Wellness Village, and we're really taking action to really impact our city and all the different areas that impact our Black mothers, and that includes us. We are at the table, and that's why people like me and Sabrina are also there advocating for those of us that do suffer with infertility and reproductive health, because we need advocates too. So I'm proud to be a member, and we thank you, Saleemah, for your vision and for including us and for thinking about It starts from then. It starts from before you even conceive a child, where we are now and the things that we deal with now. So I thank you for that. Saleemah, and I'm going to read your bio. Saleemah is passionate about maternal and child health and wellness because of her own experiences. She has been able to turn her passion and anger into a movement where she assists other birthing persons and families and helps them thrive in the 4th trimester. She is a survivor of a traumatic birth experience and realizes disparities in our healthcare and behavioral health system, and she works to change the narrative. She created a nonprofit organization called Oshun Family Center and launched a citywide initiative, as I mentioned, the Maternal Wellness Village, as she attempts to bridge the gap. Thank you, Saleemah, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It was really important for me to have you and Sabrina part of the Maternal Wellness Village, so we make it full circle, and we know that things as far as starting to build your family happen well before conception, and your story has greatly impacted since I had you at Monster and My Mom last year, and been able to really just touch the people, especially one of my family members, who I'll talk about a little later as we progress farther, and just fairly understanding what it looks like from beginning to end and how it helps to really like foster that family bond. So thanks for being a part of it, and thanks for having me a part of this today. So I'm a reproductive psychotherapist here in Philadelphia and in Montgomery County. I'm so excited to see some familiar faces and names on the line as we continue through another week of empowerment to uplift women who are facing all types of disparities, Black women and or not. So this is a really just special time. And I just can't imagine what things are going to look like next year when we get to see and touch and be in person with everybody. So that is definitely on the top of the list of things that we'll be doing moving forward to make sure that now we got a contingency plan when we didn't want to have one in the first place. So now we know that if it's not going to happen in person, it's going to happen virtually, but we're going to make sure that we do our due diligence so you can get the information. So being a psychotherapist specifically for families that are looking to form, expand, or recover after pregnancy and or loss has been very near and dear to my heart for well over a decade at this point, through my journey in maternal and child health and the different careers that I've always held within maternal and child health. So I am a doula. I don't practice anymore, but I was a doula for quite a while in a very unique situation at Riverside Correctional Facility. And that taught me so many things, from social services to mental health to just being there and holding space, and the power that that holds for birthing persons as they're really transitioning to bring a child earthside, and being on the other end that if the results aren't, that you leave out of the hospital with a live baby. So those unique experiences definitely help foster how I got on my journey of becoming a therapist, and specifically figuring out how can I still tap into the maternal child health of everything, and with the intersection of mental health. And so that's how I became a reproductive psychotherapist. And so in my practice, I see primarily families of color, because y'all my folks, and that's who I want to see. I don't discriminate, obviously. If someone else wants to solicit my services, we absolutely jump in and still get the same quality of services that I give to everyone else. But my folks are near and dear to my heart. So that's who I, like to see and want to help the most, because there's a stigma with mental health. I see a lot of head nods, and I'm glad you all understand and can, really embody the fact that this is a stigma, and it's hard to sit across from somebody and bare your soul when they don't know your plight. And even if your plight is just waking up and not look like you, it's like, okay, then that's one thing that I don't have to explain and over explain. So we can leave that and get to the other stuff. But if you also have to explain your overall being and how you function on this earth, in addition to the issues that you may be going to therapy to address, there's a barrier there. And so for me, I want to help break those barriers and end that stigma, because when I was in grad school, I went to a PWI, predominantly white institution. I actually seen one of my good colleagues who I went through grad school with on the line, and honestly, we made it through with each other. And so being in a predominantly white institution, we just really wanted so bad to know what it was going to be like when we sat across from our folks to help them heal, no matter what the journey was. And so we wanted that so bad. And just like in the fight of getting more information on what it was going to be like to treat our people and how can we best prepare to get out there to treat our people, it was met with much resistance and we didn't quite get the support that we needed. And so one of the overarching themes when I was in grad school was, Black folks are the hardest to treat. They don't show up and they don't stay in treatment. And so can you imagine just being in grad school for years, it's like 3 years that we're there for this particular program, and that being a narrative the whole time. So when I got out of grad school, I wonder, how can I best reach my people? And I had no problem. I was so proud when I actually got out of grad school and I jumped and I was like, you know what, this is going to be for us, by us, and I'm just going to see how my community responds. And the response was overwhelming. And I was so grateful that I got a good response of people seeking therapy, Black families who wanted therapy to heal their children, themselves, and being, having couples. It was just amazing. And I thought, I spent 3 years in school with these folks telling me that my people don't show up, and y'all have shown up and shown out. And so being a mental health professional and diving into grief, loss, infertility, traumatic birthing experiences, and postpartum perinatal mood and anxiety disorders, all of those things are sometimes just scratch the surface, because under the surface is complex trauma and just a life of different circumstances that have impeded getting to the next level. And so when I work with families, I work to know and understand who they are. And one of the things that I learned in the jail, so one thing I never did was I never looked up anyone's charges, and I didn't want anyone to tell me a story about the person who was coming in, because I wanted to meet this person. I want to meet you. I want to hear your story from your perspective, and I want you to know and feel supported as we're going through this journey together. So not having any preconceived notions about the person that I'm going to see, about the journey that we're going to go on, and just being there and being present for every single person that I see. And not just because this is my job, but because this is actually what I love. I have some of my clients, I'm like, y'all my family now. We're going to be in this forever. One day you will happily fire me and I will send you off into the world and you'll be able to connect when need be. But knowing that I truly love what I do. I always tell people, therapy is like my sanctuary. I do all of this other stuff with maternal and child health and wellness, with the Maternal Wellness Village. I'm ripping and running and doing everything. And when I get to therapy, I'm like, yes, how are you? No matter how many hours I've spent in a meeting, I get to therapy and I'm like, this is where I'm meant to be. And so one of the things I want you to know is when you are looking for a therapist, it is okay to see somebody for a couple sessions, see if you vibe with that person. Right? Because the first thing you have to do therapeutically is build a relationship. So if you're not vibing with that person, it's like, I always say, give them more than one chance, because you could be having an off day. That person can be having an off day, because we're human too. But give it another chance. By the third session, you will fully understand if you can vibe with this person and if you trust this person enough to go on this healing journey with you. And I'm so honored when people choose me, because that's how I feel when people reach out to me and we go on this journey together, that you chose me to go on this journey with you. And so I'm going to do my best to always show up and be a whole present person for you in that time that you need as we work together. So it's a vibe. So understanding when you're reaching out to a therapist and you have that initial conversation and you have that initial session, really check to see, how did that make me feel? And I always try to tell people that our first couple sessions is really just me listening, trying to get a better understanding. And then once we get a little more, then it's more back and forth conversational. But I don't have much of feedback or much of an opinion on your life when we're first meeting. And so I want people to, one, it's a vibe. Always remember that. Two, know that you are trying to get to know this person just as much as the therapist is trying to understand about you. So yes, some therapists, they don't let you ask them questions about their personal life or anything that they have going on. And if that's something that works for you, thumbs up, like you can rock with it. But if it's not, and you're like, I just need something to connect with, then you know, okay, I want to be able to connect with my therapist. So because and this is with a grain of salt, like little bit of like public figure, ooh, I don't even really want to say that, but a lot of people like know me out in the world for some of the work that I do. So I'm accessible. And so you can see some of the things that I do. So if you ask me, what's this about? I'm like, okay, I'll give you 5 minutes at the end of session to let you know what this is about. What is this mission that I do? What type of work do I do outside of the therapeutic room? Because the last thing I want you to do is start to build up a wall because you feel like you don't know or you don't understand me. Because therapy is a very, very vulnerable place. And I want to make it as comfortable as it can be, because on our journey, we're going to get into some real uncomfortable stuff. And I try to share with people, and I do share with people all the time, that once we build our rapport, like, I got your back. If I'm asking you to do something therapeutically that just does not feel good at all, we can put it off, but you better believe I'm going to bring you back sometime. And then we're going to go through this journey together. Because in order for you to heal and understand your journey, how you got here, how you respond now, and what you're going to do in the future, you have to trust the person that you're sitting across from. Trust is one of the main components of a healthy therapeutic relationship. And so when we look at the stigma, a lot of the stigma comes with, we don't want to sit across with somebody who doesn't look like us. Sometimes it is color. Sometimes it is gender. You know, some Black women don't want to sit across from a man. Some Black women don't want to sit across from a white man. And so that is the first thing that you can do for yourself when you are looking to begin your therapeutic journey, is really do a loose profile of the type of person who you would like to be serviced by. And so understand that, you know, if you are a person who has humor, like you like to crack a joke or two, you want your therapist to be able to laugh with you a little bit and not always psychoanalyze, like, so what's that joke about? Let's talk about it. Because then you feel like you can't fully be yourself. And so being yourself is the best thing that you can do in a therapeutic relationship that's going to help your healing journey. And so those are just some of the things that you can do in the beginning just to figure out what you would like in a profile of a therapist. Now, is this my ploy to get everybody in therapy? Absolutely. I think everybody will benefit from therapy, but it's your decision how you go in your journey. And so with the sensitive topic that we have all embarked on with Infertility Awareness Week and understanding, okay, am I specifically looking for somebody who can understand the infertility journey? You might not be able to find somebody that is going to just outwardly say, here is my struggle, but that doesn't mean that they can't help you through your journey. And so they may have it in their profile that they do grief and loss, and they do perinatal mood anxiety disorders, and that is a part of the whole reproductive therapy. And so understanding there's certain levels of things that you can look for that will give you insight as to what it's like with that person. Profiles, reading them, getting recommendations, and all of that. This journey, fertility journey, conceiving, carrying, delivering, is really taxing sometimes. As Diona talked about earlier, she doesn't want to look at another pregnancy test, and that's okay. But also know that when you feel that you're sad for a long time, past a couple days, you just can't shake it, you might need some more support. Or if the anxiety of even thinking about trying it again, or in that 2-week wait, you are just emotionally a wreck, there are people, especially therapists like myself, that will absolutely be there with you on that journey. That's a different sounding board from your partner, because sometimes that's, you know, it can be rough on your partner as well. And so having a different sounding board that's not your partner, that's not your girlfriends or your family, to just sit and talk about, that doesn't have a whole lot of opinions about what you're doing or why you're trying, is just there to be with you, to help guide and get you in an emotionally stable place to further your journey, is one of the main reasons that if you are embarking on this, that it would be important for you to solicit help of a mental health professional, because we got your back. And as long as you feel that the person who you sit across from is supportive, that is honest, and is going to truly help you through this, then you know you found a great person for you. Because everybody isn't for everybody. And that's why I stress finding somebody for you. Depression, anxiety are one of the two most prevalent mental health disorders that accompanies infertility journeys. And so being on the lookout, that if anything just doesn't emotionally feel like your norm, then it's okay for you to reach out to anybody to help get you through this journey. So as we get to the last 10 minutes of our call together, because we only had an hour, I think me, Sabrina, and Diona are going to take questions. I see we got some stuff going on in the chat that we'll double back and check into, and we'll be here to answer your questions and hear your stories. So again, my name is Saleemah McNeil. I'm a reproductive psychotherapist in Philadelphia and Montgomery County. And given this whole COVID thing, we're virtually now, so we can do, cross state lines and good stuff like that. But stick around. We'll be here to answer your questions. If you have anything else for me, just let me know. And thank you so much for your time today.
Take care.
Thank you so much. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Ooh.
Nafisa, did you want to say something?
Oh, no, I was saying take care. I didn't even realize y'all heard me already.
Well, thank you so much, Saleemah. I appreciate all your knowledge and advice, because I know healing is something, it's a journey that I've been on for over a year, just in all areas of my life. And I think if I would have done it sooner, how that would have felt, especially going through this process and navigating that, because as I said, I navigated it alone, and I vowed that I didn't want other women to feel that and to feel like they had to navigate it alone. So I commend you for what you're doing. And like you said, just trusting somebody. And I realized that depression looks different on everybody. Right? Like some people, I think some people think, oh, well, I'm not depressed because, I get up and but it may look completely different. Like it looks completely different to me. And I didn't realize that that's what I was experiencing, but I was, and I wasn't myself at all, because it was really taking over my life. So even if you set up to just talk to somebody, just try it, just to talk, just to release it, especially if you don't have anybody to talk to. That's what therapists do. They're there to listen and truly hear you out without judgment. So, and for me, I always like to do it with somebody that is a stranger or somebody that doesn't know you, or like you said, they're not coming into the situation, they're already thinking they have you figured out, but truly coming to hear what you have to say. So, we have a question that was on Facebook that I noticed. I think it might have been back when Sabrina was talking, and it says, any tips on how to unblock fallopian tubes? Sabrina, do you know of any herbs that could help in that area, or you have to unmute yourself? We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I did.
There you go.
Did one of your notes.
I know.
Herb to unblock. Not Pacific herb to unblock, but with doing, the Yoni steaming, some of the herbs that I mentioned helps promote blood flow throughout the system. So I know on our call, Dr. Ruber was explaining a lot of good information about unblocking tubes with her natural woman's health. So Dr. Ruber is a very good person that I would recommend, because she's a natural GYN doctor that definitely could help. And I can actually put that information inside of the chat as well, because she really spoke a lot on that on our Black Infertility, not in Black Infertility, our Black Maternal Wellness Week.
Thank you so much. Yes, she was definitely a good resource for those that are seeking. She was a great resource, especially for those that are seeking other options outside of IVF. She has some other methods that Sabrina just mentioned. So it's all about knowing your options. Advocating for yourself begins with just knowing the different resources that don't ever feel like this is the one answer or the one choice. So So please, yeah, put that in the notes. Are there any questions? It could be a question for me, Sabrina, or Saleemah, or comments. You can also use the chat. I know some people have been messaging in the chat over here, either on, we're watching both Facebook and Zoom. Jackie, are you trying to say something?
I have a question, Diona. Are there any suggestions for, like, I know the natural holistic ways of trying to solve or shrink fibroids and assist with getting rid of or helping endometriosis, healing from endometriosis. If it's been suggested to do the surgical route, what are some tips that you can give to going into surgery or getting ready for surgery, if that's the route that we want to take?
Is this surgery for endometriosis?
Yes, endometriosis and fibroids.
The most powerful thing that I'm always going to say is prayer. That's really one of the most, and I think sometimes we put that at the bottom of the list, or, I always say that when people say, like, what can I do for you? Prayer is always like at the end, but it really is, because I've had that surgery. I had both of those things done, as well as a few other things, but I had scar tissue and what was the other thing you said? Endometriosis and
Fibroids.
Now I know there's a couple different procedures depending on the size of the fibroids. And I really think it has to be something that you're ready for. I think the most at peace you are with it. I think for me, I realized that it took me a long time to accept that and to go through with it. But when I realized, okay, me doing this my child may be on the other end of this. So I did a lot of things that I was afraid to do. And I know, like, going under the knife is not easy and it can be very scary. But I remember, like, I went through like a couple years of just doing very, very uncomfortable things and very painful things, because some of the procedures are not comfortable. I don't know if anybody has ever done some of the procedures. You're awake. I mean, I'm hearing now that they're putting you to sleep for it, but I had to do them awake. Like the hysteroscopies and things like that, which can be very painful. But at least this one, you get to be put to sleep. It was not, for me, it wasn't that bad. And I know we have some other people online that have also had that procedure. So if they have any advice for you, I welcome that as well, because I know everybody's experience is different. Mine was able to be robotic. So I'm not sure what type you're in line for, because depending on the size of the fibroid, they may have to cut you different. So the recovery time is different. But mine was robotic. I was still down longer than I thought I would be. But the way my doctor explained it to you, you're still, even though it's robotic, it's still major surgery. They're still going in. But again, I think going through it with support and not alone. My biggest thing was after, and not fully making everybody aware, because again, this was around the time I really wasn't communicating what I was going through. A few people knew. So coming out of that, I realized, like, I really needed my friends around me. I really needed people around me, but a lot of people didn't know, or they didn't fully understand. So then I felt that, like, I really felt alone, So I definitely suggest that you rally some people around you, some people that you trust, some people that you really know will support you through this, that can take you there. Do not go by yourself, because they always make things seem like, oh, you can take yourself and drive yourself home. Don't go by yourself. Have somebody go with you. Have somebody pick you up and be with you that day, because it's a very emotional thing. Like, it's not like a surgery on your arm. you know, it's part of your womb. So it's very emotional. So that would be my advice to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? I'm looking at both chats. Yes, somebody's saying it feels good to see others that look like me and are going through the same thing. So I hope everybody on here does feel this unity. I hope today you at least feel empowered to keep going, understanding that this is a process. It's a process of healing that you're going through. It's a process of finding who you are in this moment. And also looking at some options. Definitely for me, I learn about new herbs every day having conversations with Sabrina. So I always want to share that information with the community, because that's one of the things that we tend to do. We tend to eat things that just feed our fibroids, or do things that are going against what we're trying to do. And here we are wanting to find people to advocate for us, but we're not advocating for ourselves properly. So first and foremost, it starts with us. So I thank all of you for joining us today, for signing up, for believing in this platform. I'm honored, and I wouldn't be able to do it if you guys didn't join me in this. So I hope that we further change the dynamic of this, and we're able to impact other women that are dealing with this, as women and men, because it's not just women that suffer from infertility. Men suffer from it too, and they really don't have a platform for it. So I hope that we can change the narrative and shine light. We have some comments. I haven't. Everything going on, I wanted to wait until some things subsided to plan and appreciate your suggestion. Oh, that's you.
I don't know how to work this chat box.
That's you. All right, so it's 5 o'clock, and I promised to keep you guys, not keep you guys over the time, and I appreciate Sabrina and Saleemah for joining us. If you guys don't have any other questions for us, then we will see you next time. We have another event tomorrow, and that is the Black Reproductive Health Line. And I have so many dates and times in my head that I cannot recall the time, so I do apologize. So if anybody is on here and knows, oh, thank you, Egypt, 6:30. So tomorrow, tomorrow is 6:30, Black Reproductive Health Line. And again, so we're going to be continuing that conversation about fibroids and things that plague the Black females like us. It's not the same across the board. Like, it's 80 to 90% of us will develop fibroids by the time we're 50. That's crazy. Like, there's something that is affecting us that's slowly killing our wombs. Like, we have to have the discussion. We have to talk about it.